Now, Jersey has finally hit theatres after so many delays, but I don't want our viewers to wait for that long to know if it is worth their time. I want to quickly cut across to our entertainment editor, Tushar Joshi, who saw the film before the release. Tushar, what are your first thoughts about Jersey? Do you think Shahid Kapoor, after Kabir Singh, has once again given his best performance?
Absolutely. And Dipali, before we jump into Shahid and how good he is in the film, I quickly want to touch upon the subject of remakes. Remakes can go either way. One way is that it's even better than the original film. And the second unfortunate way is that it becomes a bad experience. It sort of lets you know or reminds you of the fact that how good the original was and why was this remake made. Shahid Kapoor's Jersey as a film is somewhere in between these two experiences. It doesn't excel and exceed in terms of its treatment than the original 2019 film, which starred Nani and has the same director. Neither is it a bad experience or a bad film or something that you shouldn't invest your time in. Jersey is somewhere in between. For those who have seen the film, you can't help but compare the scenes and talk about how similar they are, given the fact that it's an official remake. You have the same director. But what is a different experience in Jersey and why it becomes such an interesting film to watch is, like you mentioned, the lead star of the film, Shahid Kapoor. What a performance. We've sort of come to know the fact that Shahid is an actor. He's a fine actor. He doesn't have anything to prove anymore. We have watched him in Haider. We've watched him in Kamine. We've seen him come of age. I think with Jersey, he sort of has found his own space. There's so much comfort he takes to this character. You will see shades of Shahid perhaps you haven't seen before. In Kabir Singh, of course, there was that violence, passion, one-sided love, anger, all of those issues. In Jersey, we get to see a little bit more subdued Shahid.
Tushar, like you said, Jersey is the remake of the 2019 film of the same name, and the original one starred Nani. Similarities there may of course be, but I want to know if there is any difference between the two films. What can the audience expect from Jersey?
Dipali, I don't think the audience should go in expecting trying to compare. I mean, these are my 2 cents about what I think as a movie goer. I have watched the original film, and I think I spoke to Nani also a few months back when Jersey was announced, and he said, "I'm so excited for Shahid. I'm excited to see this version of Jersey." And I think that's the thought process that you need to go with to watch this film. You will end up comparing the Hindi version to the Telugu version simply because the film starts and ends on the same scenes. There are standout scenes, there are moments in the Hindi film that will remind you of the original Telugu film. And you cannot but draw comparisons between Shahid's performance and Nani's performance in the original. But like I said, two different actors, two different experiences, a very different narrative for the Hindi-speaking audience. I enjoyed the original much more than I enjoyed the Hindi version. But like I said, for me, the biggest draw for the film was Shahid Kapoor himself.
Also, this is the third time we see Shahid Kapoor and his father Pankaj Kapoor sharing the screen space. How do you see their on-screen bond?
That's a very tricky question, and I think it's a very tricky situation to be in when you are cast opposite your father, and your father is nobody else but Pankaj Kapoor, right? You have to stand in the same frame with him, and you have to be shoulder to shoulder, and you have to be able to match his performance. And like you mentioned, this is not the first time Shahid has done this. I think he was exceptional in the scenes with Pankaj Kapoor, and I mentioned this in my review that some of the best moments of Jersey are this father-son relationship. He's not his father in the film, he's playing his coach, but he almost is like a father figure to Shahid. And Shahid's father-son relationship with his son in the film. Jersey is a film about cricket. You can gauge that from the posters and the songs. But beyond that, it's a film about a father and son. It's a film about hope. It's a film about the human spirit. It's a film about giving yourself a second chance. And I think Shahid is a perfect cast in that sense. He's been around for the longest time. He's done some exceptional films. We've all come to love him. Unfortunately, the film got stuck in several delays. But now that it's hit theaters, I think it's definitely a must-watch for Shahid Kapoor fans if anything goes by.
So, Tushar, if you have to sum up how Jersey is overall in a few words, what would you say?
I would definitely say that if you've not seen the original, Jersey will feel like a different experience. If you've seen the original and if you've loved Nani's version and the 2019 film, you might sort of end up drawing comparisons and maybe you might go and revisit the original. A lot of people have done that, or they do it when they see a dubbed version or a Hindi film version of something that has already been made. I think Jersey has its issues, especially the first half, which takes time to sort of build up. The conversations between these characters, between Shahid and Ronald, who plays his wife, the build up to the climax and those cricket scenes, right? Those I think could have been executed a little better. You sort of do lose interest in the film when you get to know where the climax is leading. And the climax also feels a bit rushed. But having said that, these are flaws that can be overcome and are overcome surely because of Shahid's performance. This definitely is one of his finest performances, and it sits right top there with Haidar, it sits right there with Kamine, and other films that we sort of come to love him in. I think as a movie, as an experience, Jersey is worth a watch. And for Shahid Kapoor fans, of course, it's a treat. I have given this film a solid 3 on 5 in terms of my ratings.
All right, so our entertainment editor Tushar Joshi has given 3 stars out of 5 for Jersey.